Hello, family. Today, our gist is about, well, it's actually going to be series. This is going to be a long series because we'll be dealing with different things under the same topic, and that topic is life immediately after wedding. So we'll just be pinching, there are a whole lot, but we'll just be pinching it little by little. Okay, so we'll discuss a whole lot of things immediately after wedding, what happens to the couple, different areas of life. But for today, we'll be looking at finance. What happens to couples after their wedding with respect to their finance? That's what we'll be looking at today. It's a sensitive one. But I just want you to bear in mind, especially if you're getting married soon, that this is an aspect you have to deal with. Sometimes it's possible that both of you probably discussed before your wedding how you're going to manage your finance. That will be another video. We'll talk about how couples to be should talk about how they manage their finance. Because there are some men that get married and they expect that once you work as a woman, you bring the money to them. They will now tell how the family will use the money. That's a very sensitive area we don't want to delve into in this video. So we'll talk about that later. But let's just talk about shortly after wedding, what happens to finance? What happens to your finance? Before your wedding, you were able to manage yourself, do the little you could do around and all of that. Now you're married. You people just probably spent on your wedding ceremony and entertainment and all of that. And then maybe you decided to take some time out, maybe a week or two, or for your honeymoon. So you probably traveled out of your state, or you're in your state and you decided to lodge in a hotel. So bill is running. The hotel bill is running. The food you're buying outside is running. The transportation to go around, because you want to spend time with each other, right? The transportation is there. So the bill is piling up. You just finished your wedding, spending so much, you're trying to entertain people. Now you are married and then bill is already piling up. Now, if you're one of those who probably do not have a very fat bank account before your wedding, and maybe your husband, or let's say your husband and your wife does not have a very fat bank account before the wedding, and you're engaging in this honeymoon get alone together, you know that that's going to be a challenge shortly after your wedding. Now, it's a good idea, very good idea, to have that time alone, to have your honeymoon, to spend time together is a wonderful idea. But understand that the moment you decide to get married, that you are creating a family of your own. So it's no longer your mother deciding what you're going to eat in the house. It's no longer your father who is deciding to bring money. It's now you and your husband deciding what you people will eat in the house and the food that you have in the house. So you have to factor all of that in before you choose expensive area for your honeymoon. Again, I'm saying it's not wrong to have honeymoon, or to have an elaborate honeymoon outside your state, just visit, go around. But while you are doing that, ensure you factor in your life after your wedding. Because if you spend the little remaining in your hand in 2 weeks or in a week for honeymoon, you're going to come back home, your home, and you're going to be faced with this issue of what are we going to eat, what are we going to do, and then you will be faced with borrowing almost immediately. You'll be forced to almost start asking friends and family for, can you just borrow me 100,000 there? Can you borrow me 20,000 there? And before you know it, the bills are piling up, and then your debt is already piling up, and that's going to be a huge problem. But of course, if you're one of those who are blessed to have a lot of money in your hands before and after your wedding, oh, please, by all means, go to all the places you want to go to, eat all the things you want to go, experience all the things during your honeymoon, do that. But if you don't have that capacity, please factor in your life after your wedding. One of the things you're going to hit immediately after your wedding is managing to managing to get groceries, foodstuffs for your house, right? And managing to do few things, especially if you marry a partner who is not very good at keeping money. Any little money in the hand, he just wants to spend it, give it out. If you marry such a man, you're going to learn very early as a woman to learn how to manage things and learn how to speak to him so that you can hold things. But the truth is, immediately after wedding, you may be talking to your husband as a woman now, and he may think you are just overreacting until everything is spent and his eyes is wide open, like there's no money in this house. We don't have anything. We're falling back to that. We're like, oh, what my wife was saying is true. But before you get to that point, if you both sit down to understand that this thing will hit you immediately after your wedding, you will plan ahead of time to be able to control that. Because if you don't control it, it's going to so affect your relationship that you wonder, but we were fine before the wedding, we were friends. Financial struggle is one of the drainers of marriage. You are married, but you are struggling financially. Even though you love each other, if you are not careful, it's going to strain your relationship, because you are trying all you can to ensure that things are going well, but you are stressed. Imagine you want to eat something in your home, you don't have the money to prepare it. You want to go to church, for example, you have no money to maybe order a boat or to fuel your car. You have to either want to trek or look for a bike or look for someone to join. It's going to stress you. So the best thing is plan ahead of time. Talk with your partner. If you are about to get married, talk with your partner. Know what you have in your mind to know whether it can actually, go for that elaborate honeymoon you want to go for. If you don't go for it, manage it right now. You can always have, vacations and all of that later. After your wedding, you can have a day or 2 or 3 or so outside your home to be together, but you manage your finances, you manage what you buy, you manage the kind of food, because you go out sometimes, you're getting a plate of food for 15,000 naira because you just got married, and you discover that in 2-3 days you and your husband have eaten more than 100,000 naira, and then you get back home and there is no food. So this issue is going to hit you real bad. Another thing I would love to advise against is, you see that money they spray you on your wedding, especially if you're an African person, and during the wedding they are spraying money and giving you envelope and all of that. You and your partner, if you marry a man who says say to you as his wife, okay, take the money, count it and put it in a bank, or help us to use, just keep it for us, we'll get back to that. That's beautiful. As a woman, please don't use it simply because he trusts you to hold it. But if you marry a man who feels, I spent a lot during the wedding, this one would not even cover it, and then he takes the whole money and he's using everything the way he wants to use it, the truth is very soon both of you are going to fall back to 0 naira. Whatever currency you use, wherever you're watching from, you're going to go back into nothing. And then debt will be staring you in the face. So you're a young couple, a year old in marriage, 2 years, and you discover that you have so much debt you have to pay because these things were not managed. So what do? When you receive, if you are working, even if your salary is small after your wedding, the truth is, if you go to market, if you're in Nigeria, for example, you will understand what I'm talking about. If you go to market to go and buy foodstuffs, if you go to market with 40,000 or 50,000, you are most definitely going to come back to check if you misplaced money, because things are so expensive that you discover that you spend so much to buy foodstuff, and it won't take you and your husband or whoever is living with you people up to a month. So imagine that you are spending up to 30, 40, 50,000 naira, and it's not taking you for a month. And maybe your husband is not earning much and you're not earning much. That's a huge challenge. So what do? Calculate it within time. Now, both of you are a partner. If you earn 50,000 naira, your husband earn 100,000 naira or 50,000 naira. If you put that together, you may be playing around 100,000 to 150,000. So what do? Both of you make plans. For each month, let's try to manage 50,000 naira for food, because things are so expensive right now. So if you are managing, let's say 50,000 naira for food, as the woman, you will understand that you have to draw a list where you buy, major things in bulk. So you could decide to go to a local market where you buy things like beans in bulk, you buy things like yam in bulk. Just ensure that those ones that you need at home are there, okay? Before you spend the rest on maybe fish and meat and tomatoes and all of that, because sometimes you may not have anything at home to eat. But if you have beans and oil, you can either make momo, or you make akara, or you just boil the beans, and you would have succeeded in killing that hunger in the family. But if you spend that 50,000 naira trying to just get tomatoes and meat and all of that, you discover that it won't take you up to 2 weeks. So what you do is buy things in bulk, things that you can easily boil, that can deal with hunger in the family. Things like beans, like yam, that you can boil and eat with something small like gari and all of that. So get those things first before you get other sweet things like meat and all of that. Okay, so you manage that, you manage your offering out of that amount. You just create, try to walk around it. It may not be rubber stamped, but try to walk around. Okay, for 1 month, this is what we use for food, this is the amount we use for transportation, and then this is the amount we use for offering in church. Okay, put those aside, and then you can decide. Let's break it down. Let's say it's 150, both of you in, right? So let's say we use 50,000 naira for food and feeding for a month. You have to manage that, because that's really small for a month for a family right now in our country presently. So let's say you remove 50,000 naira, then you tell yourself, okay, we're removing another 30,000-40,000 naira or thereabout for offering in church. Yes, because you have to build your spirituality. You can't remain in that level, and you can't grow financially. Well, we'll talk about that. You can't grow financially when you're not even free to give to God. Okay, so you budget your offering. Let's say you remove 30,000, 40,000. That's like 80 or 90,000 already gone from that money. And then you can tell yourself, okay, so we remove. Of course, you have to remove your tithes. So let's say you have removed up to 10,000 or 50,000 naira. So that's almost like 105,000 naira gone already from the money. So we're playing with 150,000, right? So let's take away another 10,000 naira for families. Maybe somebody in your husband's family or your wife's family calls and they are looking for money urgently, and you want to support with 5,000 or 10,000 naira. So let's keep that away in another account, right? So now we're playing with 125,000 naira already gone for that month. Already gone for that month. So you discover that what is left, you're either using it for transportation. If you have your company's car, good, wake up early and join that car, because you will really need to save a lot from transportation. If that happens, you can at least save 10,000 naira or 20,000 naira from that money as your family money, because an emergency may come up that will need you to bring money, and you don't want calling everybody, please give me 2,000 naira there, or give me 20,000 naira there. So for every one you receive per month, try to see if you can save at least 5,000, 10,000, no matter how small the salary is. Because if you wake up tomorrow and your wife's test strips reads positive in pregnancy, that's joy, right? But you're not going to start running to families, oh, my wife is pregnant but I don't have anything at all and she needs to go to the hospital tomorrow. That's not what you're going to be singing to everybody, because everybody, oh, congratulations, oh, they expect you're a man now, so you can take care of your family. So plan your finance after your marriage. It's very important. Plan your finance after your marriage. Make it bare before each other. Let's see what we both have. Let's see what we are working with. Let's see what's going on. Let's see the things that are available. Don't hide information from your partner, because at the end of the day, immediately after your wedding, if you hide information, there's going to be a problem, because the other partner may think you have, and then you're thinking the other partner has. Make it very bare. After our wedding, this is what we receive. This is what we eat per month. This is what we're using for transport. This is the little we can save. Make it that plain, so that you don't start, unnecessary emotional fight and quarrel, emotional stress from nowhere, and you just discover, oh, your sweet partner is no longer sweet. It's not like the person is no longer sweet, but a lot of stress, not knowing how to manage finance. So bear it in mind that you're going to have to deal with these issues immediately after your wedding. So don't wait until they hit you right in the face and you're already deep in debt before you start planning. Plan now and enjoy your marital life with your partner. Your home is blessed, peaceful, and joyous. That's what I wish you, and that's what I wish all the godly homes. You are blessed. Amen. See you in our next video, and in our next series, we are dealing with a lot of series after wedding. Stay blessed.